welcome day one of the three-step client acquisition system. So excited to have y'all with us today. As y'all are coming in to join us, I'm asking you to drop into the chat. Now, whether you're watching in Facebook or in the Facebook group, or you're here with us in Zoom, so there's a couple different ways people are watching. As I said, we have about 3,700 coaches in the Facebook group, and then we have a smaller group of us here in the Zoom room. You're free to watch either way. I think via Zoom, we get to be a little bit more interactive. So if you're in Facebook and you want the Zoom link, just go ahead and drop into the Facebook comments, Zoom link, and we can give that to you. But as you're coming in, drop into the comments where you're watching from. What are you hoping to get out of the workshop? And also just let us know if you need the workbook. Tabitha went ahead and dropped a link for the workbook into the chat. So y'all should be able to grab that. And you will want to have that on the ready. That's going to be a big piece of what we're doing this week, is making sure we're filling out that workbook. All right, so let's get to it. Welcome everybody to the three-step client acquisition system workshop. For those of you who I haven't met yet, now some of y'all are familiar faces, and I'm looking around and it's good to see some familiar faces. Hey, Peter. I got to scroll through the Zoom here. I'm seeing a bunch of people that I've seen before. Thank you for joining us. And then some of you guys are new. This might be your first workshop with us. So I'm also curious too. And obviously I want this to be interactive, or I would have just sent out a recording. Drop into the chat if this is your first workshop with us. I'd love for you to put first in the chat if this is the first time that you've joined us. If you've joined us before, maybe you can drop into the chat the words "joined before," just out of curiosity. How many people are newbies here versus, oh, yep, I've joined you before. So, okay, we've got a lot of people with us for the first time. So let me make sure I do a little intro here for those of you who haven't met me yet. My name is Betty Kempa. I call myself a business coach-sultant, So I'm kind of a hybrid, right? I'm part coach and I'm part consultant, business coach-sultant for coaches. I'm a 3 times member of the Forbes Coaches Council. I'm an IPEC graduate. I'm also curious, drop into the chat if you were certified as a coach. Drop into the chat, where were you certified? I'm always curious to know, the different certification peeps we have with us. Hey, Meredith from IPEC. Hey, Jenny from IPEC. Hey, Michael and Elizabeth from IPEC. Allie, what's going on, Allie? Yeah, and we do tend to get a lot of IPECians, right? This is my place. My place I am from. Went to IPEC about maybe 8 years ago in San Francisco. So IPEC graduate. What else can I tell you about me? Ranked one of the top coaches in Denver, and then again in Tampa by Influence Digest, and was recently listed at the end of 2024 as one of the top 10 business coaches to watch by Life Coach magazine. Lastly, I am the proud founder of the Corporate to Six-Figure Coach Academy, where we help corporate renegades just like yourselves ditch the 9-to-5 and repackage their genius into a 6-figure coaching business. I will be your guide over the next week. I'm thrilled to be here with you. I will say that acquiring clients while still at your corporate job is the first step in replacing your corporate income with a full-time coaching business, right? We want to be validating the market, acquiring clients, right? So by the time you make that transition from corporate to coach, you've already got a business on the side that's essentially functioning, right? So that's the idea here. Acquiring clients while still at your corporate job is that first step in replacing your corporate income with a full-time coaching business. So what we'll be doing during this workshop is you will be learning our simple 3-step client acquisition system. And notice I use the word system. This is going to be helpful for coaches who are still in their corporate jobs or their full-time gigs, because you can and should be getting clients while you're still at your corporate job. Now, a couple things to know about the way I'm going to teach and the way that I teach my clients this method as well. Yes, there's a way to get clients while still at your corporate job without blowing your cover, right, at your corporate job. So I totally understand. A lot of you are hesitant, right? You can't go wild on LinkedIn just yet. And so if that's you, no worries, right? There are different ways and methods to deal with that. The majority of my clients, it's, something that many people have to contend with. So there are ways to deal with that. So that's number one. Two, we talk about implementing this client acquisition system pre-launch. Okay, so what I'm saying, and you'll be learning over the course of our time together, is that no, you do not need a website to get clients. Yes, at some point, of course, we want to build a beautiful website with great copy and design and all the things, right? It becomes your storefront. But I think there's this mentality sometimes, and it could be my people. I attract a lot of type A perfectionists. Any in the house? Got any type A perfectionists? I see a hand there. Whose hand? Carol. Yeah, yeah. I tend to attract that. So I think a lot of times people think, well, I can't officially launch until everything is perfect. And what I'm trying to say is, yes, we are going to build out the things and the business system, but you don't, nor should you be waiting to work with clients until everything's perfect, as if it would ever be perfect, right? So we're talking about this week, how do I get clients even if I'm pre-launch? Okay, even if I'm pre-launch, how do I get clients? And lastly, we're talking about the idea of getting clients while you're still in your corporate or full-time gig as a means to mitigate risk. Okay, as a means to mitigate risk. How are we doing that? By creating enough coaching income on the side to allow you to transition out of corporate or your full-time gig when you're ready. When you're ready, right? We want it to be a smooth, strategic transition. Okay. All right. So want to pop into the chat here and see what's going on. Coach University, Francis, very good. Yep. Know a lot of coaches from Coach U. Saliana, IPEC. Hey, Saliana, how's it going? Erickson International, familiar with that. Susan, great. And Carol, you've been with us before. Love that. A lot of first timers here, which is very exciting. Would also love if you're in the Zoom room, you don't have to do this. If you're watching in Facebook, give me a hashtag live in the comments if you're watching with us live. I know there's quite a few people catching replays, so give me a hashtag replay in the comments if you're on Facebook and you're catching the replay. Sally watching from British Columbia, Canada. Hello to our Canadian friends and coaches. Time to start that business. Yes, Sally. Cindy out in Denver, thinking of starting a coaching business, and you've got the workbook. Amazing. Yeah, I feel like I've kind of lived. I don't want to say just about everywhere, but like the major cities. So currently I'm in St. Petersburg, Tampa area, Florida, but right before that, we were out in Denver for years and absolutely loved Denver. At some point, I think we'll probably split our time because I know Ryan, my partner's already missing Denver. Julie's from Texas. Good stuff. Good stuff. Anybody else need the workbook? And Tabitha will drop that into the chat again. Drop workbook into the chat if you don't have your workbook yet. Jenny says, confidence in winning new business. Where to find clients that resonate with my offering. Amazing. So Jenny, one thing to take note of about where to find clients, and everybody just to think about, if you're like, okay, where do I find my new people? A really important day to make sure you join during our workshop week, right? This is a week of workshopping at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Make sure that you attend on Wednesday. Wednesday is going to be a big day, so write that down. Make sure you attend Wednesday. I mean, I want you to be here every day, but specifically Wednesday, we're going to talk about where are these people? No matter the niche, no matter the specialty, where do I find my peeps? Meredith says systems and steps. Right now, my client acquisition is willy-nilly. Yeah, Meredith, you are not alone. And I think that's kind of the blessing and the curse of acquiring clients as a coach or as an entrepreneur. The blessing is that there are so many different ways to acquire clients. So it's like, great, there's a lot of different ways. But the curse is, right, it can become an overwhelm. right? If you're sitting down at your desk and you're like, okay, today I have a 2-hour time block, I'm going to work on acquiring clients. Let me throw spaghetti at the wall and see which thing sticks, right? That's when the overwhelm can kind of start to settle in. So to your point, Meredith, systems, right? That's why I call this workshop a 3-step client acquisition system. Systems that talk to each other are going to be very important so that you're really clear on, how all the different pieces of acquiring clients works together. So we will definitely talk more about that as well. Good. And again, I may not, if I don't get to everybody's comments, which I'm going to try to, if I don't get to everybody's comments, I will be reviewing all clients, or I'm sorry, all comments after the call here. Christina is looking for the workbook. No worries. No worries. You had a bad link. Uh-oh. Let us know where, or maybe DM me or Tabitha after the fact, Christina. I want to make sure all our links are correct. Michael and Elizabeth say, yes, ditch the 8 to 6. Yeah, 9 to 5 is not really a thing, is it? 8 to 6 minimum corporate lifestyle, but time availability is an issue. To nudge in client time, it will take away from corporate time. So looking for fresh ideas, how this might be done without blowing my cover. Great. Yes, we will definitely be talking about this week, Michael and Elizabeth. I don't know which, or maybe both of you are joining us. But we will definitely be talking about the time management piece of it. And again, just so you know, you're not alone. All of my clients, right? My niche is corporate to coach, right? My people are transitioning from a really demanding, busy, full-time job, usually corporate, into a coaching business. So there has to be definitely that element of, okay, how do we manage our time? What does that look like? So we will be getting into that more this week, and how you go about doing that, because yeah, something's got to give, right? In some way or another. But again, just to let you know, you're not alone. All of my clients are either parents or super demanding full-time jobs. Some of them are still getting certified. So, by no means, I want all of you guys to realize this, as far as like, when's the perfect time to start? You guys can probably guess what I'm going to say to that. Put it in the chat. What do you think I'm going to say in terms of when's the perfect time to start? Put into the chat. What do you think I'm going to say? Yeah, you guys got it. There is no, yeah, yesterday. Yeah. There is no perfect time, right? There will never be like this perfect time to start. So, if you're busy now, you're going to stay busy. So bottom line, we will talk about what are some methods, right, to deal with the corporate job while I build my business from a time management and energy management standpoint. So definitely hold on for that. All right. So I'm going to pick up this bad boy. Now, if you're old school like me, I print things. So you can, by all means, print this out. If you have it, wave it around. If you're a print person, or maybe you're planning on printing it later, you just got the link, and that's fine too. For tonight, hey, I see I've got a fellow printing person. Hey, Trisha. So you want to have your workbook with you. I do want to remind you guys, it's absolutely critical to have this workbook with you the entire time we go through our sessions together. This is really that supplemental resource. We'll be filling in the answers to this workbook as we go through these sessions. So again, if you have it online, an online version, that's okay. You can take notes on a Google Doc or online. If you want to print it, you can write in your notes, etc. And if you, miss maybe something I say as I'm running through the answers, also look to the chat. Tabitha Allman, who is helping and supporting with this workshop on my team, she will be putting into the chat as well as I run through the answers, what the answers are, so that you guys can make sure that you're grabbing those and writing them down, okay? And side note, Tabitha Allman is your workshop concierge. She's your workshop concierge, and she's here in Zoom tonight. She'll also be in the Build a Six-Figure Coaching Business Facebook group to assist you. Okay, she'll be in the Build a Six-Figure Coaching Business Facebook group to assist you. It is highly important. And a side note, this is kind of the magic of this workshop, is that Tabitha and I are really leaning in, not just to do this song and dance at night and then see you next evening. We are here to continue to support you throughout the entire workshop. If you have questions, if you need help, etc., please make sure that you are connected to me and to Tabitha Allman. Again, if you're looking for her name, she's here in Zoom. Look, you can take a look at her name. It's Allman. She's also posting in the Facebook group. And I will put the Facebook group link just so y'all have it on Zoom. And she just put into the chat so you guys see where she is. She'll be here. So just important. The magic of this workshop is that we are really leaning in to give you that customized support while you're going through this workshop. Okay. So Tabitha's going to be here. I'm going to be here, both of us, to guide you through this process and to customize this experience, especially for you. So for most of you, if you've registered, and by the way, it's totally fine. You might have gotten a Zoom link tonight another way, and maybe you haven't officially registered yet. That's fine too. Tabitha, I think in the answer key that I gave you, there's a registration link. If you wouldn't mind dropping that into the chat for people. So if you haven't registered yet, you should register, because once we get your name, Tabitha is then able to connect with you to be a source for you, a resource for you, and to get you answers. If you're registered, she's probably already sent you a DM. She's probably already sent you a DM. So real quick, I just want to show you in the Facebook group. Let me make this a little bit bigger right here in the Facebook group. Okay, so here's my FYI to y'all before we get started. If you've registered, Tabitha has probably already sent you a message. She's probably already reached out to you. Please make sure you're connected with her so she can get you resources, answers. There's going to be a ton of this stuff as we're going throughout the week. Even if you have questions, Tabitha is going to be collecting all questions. So if I don't get to answer a question live, I'll be answering it on Q&A day. Okay. So it's really important you connect with Tabitha. So what you're going to want to do is go up here in the right-hand corner of the screen to your messenger, and you're going to want to see if you have a message from Tabitha. Okay. If you don't, if she's not your Facebook friend, it might have landed in your spam or your junk Facebook DM. So what you'll need to do is hit messenger, hit the three dots right here in the upper right-hand side, the three dots, and then you're going to hit message request. And that's going to pop up. You're going to see a list of people and think, oh my gosh, all these people have been trying to get a hold of me this whole time. So there's a chance Tabitha may be at the top here, maybe, if she's not your Facebook friend. Otherwise, she may just be at the top of your inbox. Now, if neither of those two things are true, I would recommend that you go ahead and click on Tabitha's Facebook profile. I'm just going to bring it on up here and view her profile. And I would just send her a message. So I'm going to stop share here, and I'm going to put Tabitha's profile link in the chat. Send her a message. If you don't see a message from her, send her a message and just say workshop, so that you two are connected, and she knows, right, to be checking messages from you in case you have any questions, you need replays, etc. Deek, may I watch the replay after? Yeah, you can. Absolutely. Yeah. You can watch the replay after. So again, another reason to connect with Tabitha, right? To make sure that you're getting the replays. All right. So moving on here, and I'm kind of flying through the announcements because I want to get to the juice, the good stuff. But if you have any questions, please do drop them into the chat as we are going here. All right, what else do I want to tell you? If you are joining us via Zoom tonight, it is very important that you also join the Build a Six-Figure Coaching Business Facebook group. Again, I had just dropped that link into the chat. I'll drop it in again into the chat. So you do want to be a member of that group, because we will be a couple things. One, and I put the link into the Zoom chat. One, the Facebook group is where you will be posting your homework. So we're going to ask you each night, we're going to post in the Facebook group one homework question. We're going to post one homework question, and then you're going to post, when you see that question, it's going to come from Tabitha. It'll be an image, a graphic. You're going to post your answer. Okay. So that's the first reason you want to be in the Facebook group. We're holding you accountable to implementing, right, as we go through this workshop. It's not just about being a passive participant. So that's one. Number two, by showing up live, and then by going and answering the homework question, you'll have 24 hours before the next workshop day to answer the homework question. As long as you're showing up live on the day that we announce the prize, and you go and answer your homework question, you are then going to be in the drawing for a prize. So we're going to be giving out prizes throughout the week, all kinds of fun things. We'll be giving out gift cards, Amazon gift cards, coffee gift cards. We'll even be doing a full focus planner. So all kinds of fun things. But in order to be in the running for that, and we do a fresh drawing each day, you have to answer the new homework post in the Facebook group, and you got to show up live the next day. Okay, really important. Also in the Facebook group, that is where you're going to receive feedback and answers from me around the client acquisition system. So I do want you guys to use the Facebook group as a means during this workshop to ask questions, to share, to ask questions. That's our communication hub. So please, by all means, if you're not going to DM me or DM Tabitha, and I think sometimes it's really helpful for the whole group to see your questions, because most of the time everybody's got the same question. Okay. So use the Facebook group to get feedback and answers from me around the process. And lastly, right, that's where you'll connect in the DMs with your personal concierge, with Tabitha, who's going to be customizing this experience for you. Now, mark your calendars, mark your calendars. I will be teaching live here on Zoom every night this week. Okay, Monday through Friday, every night this week, 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern, for about an hour or so each night, give or take. Depends how much dialogue there is. Okay, so make sure you write that down in your calendars. The weekend, you're going to have off. We're not going to have any live calls during the weekend. You can feel free to still, post in the Facebook group and DM us, but no live calls over the weekend. That's maybe your time to catch up on replays, etc. And then we'll have two bonus sessions. Write this down. The following Monday, March 17th, 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern, and Tuesday, March 18th, 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern. So essentially, Monday through Friday, and then Monday and Tuesday of next week. All right, let's get into it without further ado. Pull out your workbook and open it up, and let's get started. Drop comments and questions as we go. If I don't answer your question directly, which I will try to be answering your question directly. If I don't, Tabitha will be gathering all of your questions, and we're going to be doing a live Q&A session. We'll be doing a live Q&A session. I think I have that scheduled for Monday of next week. Okay, so please I don't want you to leave this workshop with any questions. If I say something and you're like, what does she mean by that, etc., throw the question in the chat. Tabitha's gathering all the questions. I'm going to do a live Q&A, or I'll just answer it live on the call. All right, let's hit it. So pull out your workbooks. If you don't have a workbook and you just hopped in, put workbook in the chat. If you're on Facebook and you don't have the workbook, put workbook in the chat. Today's topic is inner circle, the inner circle of the client acquisition system. Okay. And here's what I want to say. Working with your inner circle, and we'll talk about what an inner circle is in a minute. Working with your inner circle is the first step in the 3-part client acquisition system. Okay. The system I'm teaching you this week is simple. It's organic, meaning you're not paying for Facebook ads. And by the way, I just blanket statement here. I do not recommend paying for Facebook ads until you've at least hit the 6-figure mark in your business. So maybe you've had a 100K year or a 200K year. Once you get to that point and you validated the market that, yep, my program's working, my copy is working, my niche is working, my messaging is working, then it might make sense to invest in ads, but not yet. So we don't want to waste money on that. So we're going to be focused on an organic system to attract clients. And we're going to be talking about warm leads versus cold. Okay. When you want to attract clients the fastest, the most efficiently, right? We're going to want to start with warm leads. So we're going to talk about what that is. So today's agenda is this. We're going to talk about one, how to leverage your inner circle in an authentic, non-icky way to find clients. And I'm going to talk about what an inner circle is in a minute. Two, we're going to talk about, well, Betty, who's in my inner circle? Who are the people in my inner circle? We're going to talk about that. Three, we're going to talk about how to use a potential tracker. So when you're reaching out to your inner circle, a tracker that will walk you through the steps that you have to take to move a conversation with an inner circle member to a potential client, or at minimum to a referral. Okay. Stay to the end of the training and we'll talk about that tracker at the end. Let's get into talking about the inner circle. So put in the chat. And again, there's really, and I promise you, if I have a right or wrong answer, I'm not going to, play a trick on you. And what do you guys think it is? But when I say inner circle to you, what do you guys think I mean by that? Or what does that mean to you? Drop it in the chat. When I say inner circle, what does that mean to you? Drop that into the chat. Drop that into the chat. And I'm just curious when I say that, what comes up for y'all when you think about inner circle? And then I'll give you my definition. Okay, let's see here. Michael, okay, so Michael and your bride. Michael, people who already know me, trust me. Yes. Trisha, family and friends. Yes. Cindy, people I already know. Chat's going fast. People I already know, my network, family and friends. Yes. Yep. Everybody's got it here. What's up, Valerie? Friends and family. Yes. Yep. You guys got it. Peter, close connections. Yep. Christina, people we interact with on a regular day. Yep. So you guys got it. So again, here's what I'm going to say, inner circle. Think of your inner circle as, and by the way, let's open our workbooks. This is where I become a teacher. Page 1, open your workbook up to page 1, okay? And this is the first question on page 1, where we define an inner circle. What is an inner circle? I want you to think of your inner circle as the humans in your network who already know, like, and trust you. Okay? Just like you guys were saying. And stay with me. If you're already thinking, Betty, there's no clients in my inner circle, don't worry. We're going to take it a couple steps further than that. Stay with me. So your inner circle are the humans in your network who already know, like, and trust you. Write that down. That's in, page 1 of your workbook. They may not be, let me be very clear here. They may not be your ideal client avatar, but that's okay. All right. And when I say ideal client avatar, that's that unicorn client, right? That is essentially the perfect person that you would want to work with. So if you're thinking, well, Betty, I don't have people in my inner circle who are my ideal client, that's okay, because we are not necessarily looking for clients when it comes to your inner circle people. Someone in your inner circle may result in a referral. Okay? Really important. Do not rule anyone out. Oh, my neighbor, they're not in the industry. I'm not going to include them. No. Do not rule anyone out. And in addition to that, think outside of the box. All right. So that's the first part of your worksheet here. Page 1 at the top is the definition of an inner circle. Okay. And I think the point I'm trying to get across here is don't rule anyone out. Okay. Now let's talk about a little bit more. Friends, family, neighbors, alumni, right? If you went to college with them, if you went to a coach certification training with them, if you were in a fraternity sorority with them, right? Whatever kind of alumni, old colleagues. Take a look back at your resume, your LinkedIn profile, every job you've ever worked at, maybe not currently if you're trying not to blow your cover, but old colleagues. I would say, probably within my first 5 clients, I had numerous old colleagues, okay? Now, again, we'll get much deeper into where to find your inner circle people on day 3. So Wednesday, please do not miss Wednesday. Be sure to attend. We'll talk about where do I find these guys. All right. But right now, here's what I want you to do. I want you all to take just a hot minute here. And I want you in your worksheet on page 1. And again, if you haven't printed this out, just take notes somewhere. But I want you all right now to take a minute to list the first 5 people that come to mind in your inner circle when it comes to either. So there are 2 ways to qualify. Either they are your ideal client avatar. They are a potential client. They're a prospective client. You're like, yeah, that old colleague of mine, I'm doing career coaching and they're miserable in their job. That could be a prospective client. So that's option 1 is you're like, they could be with my specialty, the type of coaching I do, they could be a prospective client. And then option 2 is maybe there's somebody who is a connector, who could refer you to someone in your inner circle. Okay. And you guys know what I mean when I say a connector? Do you ever meet somebody that just they seem to like, no matter who it is, they're like, oh, you got to meet so-and-so, right? They're always making introductions. They're always making connections. Maybe their line of work, they're mingling with a lot of different types of people. So I want you right now to write into your workbook 5 people from your inner circle that are either you're like, yeah, that could be a potential client, or you're like, that would be a great connector. That person, they know a lot of people. I'll even give you another sample. As you guys are writing this down, write this down now. Just the first 5 people that come to mind. We'll work more on this later throughout the week. I use the example of, I had a hairstylist. So think of service providers too, by the way, service providers who you're close to, right? You're right. Hairstylists are great examples, right? We talk. Everybody talks to their hairstylist. My hairstylist, they knew everybody. No matter your coaching niche, you're like, yeah, I'm a health coach. They're like, oh, you got to meet so-and-so. She wants to blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I'm a relationship coach. You got to meet so-and-so. She's struggling in her relationship, right? So write that down now and put in the chat done. Once you've come up with 5, there's the first 5 that come to mind. And rest assured, down the road in the process, we're going to be making a list of many more people in your inner circle. You're going to take time to sit down and to process and to come up with a long list. But just to get the ball rolling, we're trying to take action. Great. Saliana, Cindy, Allie, Jamie, Sally. Nice. First 5 people that come to mind. Okay. Either they are potentially your ideal client avatar or they're a connector. They could probably make a referral. Okay. Now, in column 2 of the workbook, next to the name, it says communication method. Communication method. And what I want you to do right now is go ahead and list the typical mode of communication that you would use with that person. And I want you to communicate with this person to reach out. And we'll talk about, what do I say? Blah, blah, blah. We're going to get to all that. But I want you to list in your worksheet, page 1, what is the type of communication method that you're going to use with that person? Because it's different for everybody, right? If it's my best girlfriend, I'm going to text her or I'm going to call her. If it's a work colleague, I might reach out on LinkedIn DM. Right? If it's, it depends. Is it email? Is it Facebook DM, LinkedIn DM, text, phone? What's the best method to communicate? And, we're not going to force everybody to communicate with us one way. We're going to communicate with them how they would typically communicate with us. So go ahead and write that in now. And if you're not sure, you're going to take a guess. Take a guess. And if that way doesn't work when you reach out, then you'll try another way. Okay, so we're just getting the ball rolling here. Now, my clients in the Corporate to 6-Figure Coach Academy receive a tool, and I call this tool an inner circle tracker. An inner circle tracker. The purpose of the tracker is to list everyone in your inner circle so that you can start conversations. Okay. And I want you guys to plant this in your brain. Conversations equal clients. Conversations equal clients. Conversations with the right people, right? Not just whatever, but conversations equal clients. If you look at your week or your month and you ask yourself, how many conversations have I had related to my coaching business? And if the answer is 0 or like 1 or 2, I could tell you right away, that's why you don't have any clients, right? Conversations equal clients. So I want you to think about, we'll get to a point down the road here where you will be listing out everybody you can think of in your inner circle. So we can start to approach people and have conversations, and we'll talk about what those conversations look like as well. Okay. So what I want you to think about is your inner circle is going to move you into conversations. Conversations are going to move you into clients. Okay. Inner circle is going to move you into conversations. Conversations are going to move you to clients. Go ahead and turn to page 2. Turn to page 2 in your workbook. Now, side note, these conversations that you're about to have may lead to people in your inner circle saying, right? So you're going to, and we'll get into this in a minute, you're going to start to have these conversations with people. You're going to start to talk about your coaching and the types of people you coach and the types of urgent problems you coach and the types of goals and outcomes you help people achieve. And those conversations may lead to somebody in your inner circle saying either, one, hey, I could be your client. I think you're talking to me, right? We're making no assumptions. We're not coming at people and saying, hey, I'm a divorce coach. You getting divorced, right? We're having conversations about our bit. You like that one, Meredith? We're having conversations about our business, and they are going to be the ones that raise their hand and say, wow, you're like talking to this is a kismet. Or they're going to say, hey, that's not me, but I know some, because you were so clear in how you described what you're doing and who you're working with. I think I know somebody who fits that description. Let me make an introduction. So that's what this is about. We're not going in with hard pitches. This is not like a networking MLM, something wild, right? We're having conversations. We are conveying our excitement, right? People want to get behind you when you're building something that you're excited about. Y'all know as coaches, this is our mission. This is our calling, right? This isn't just your typical job. This is our life calling. And people want to get behind that. The key is when we start connecting with people in our inner circle, we want to start light. We want to start light. Meredith says, this is exactly what's been holding me back. I have a huge HR network and I have not reached out in meaningful ways. So Meredith, again, you're the perfect place. The perfect, because we're going to walk you through, and this is kind of my background. I'm a copy gal. I did, copy and marketing messaging for a decade in the corporate world, different Fortune 500. So we're going to talk about scripts, how to approach people, right? How to track, how to follow up, etc. And we'll take it one step at a time. The key is when we start to connect with our inner circle, we want to start light. We're not coming in hot. Okay. We should want to start human to human. We want to start human to human on a personal level. We're not going to come rolling in talking about our business right away, right? We'll start human to human. And, again, right? Some of these people, it's like, oh, the last time I saw them was at a high school reunion 5 years ago, right? So we're not going to roll right in like, I'm doing this business, right? We're going to start light, human to human. All right, I'm going to pull something up that, again, I mentioned, and this is, this is not wild. This is a spreadsheet, but I call it the Inner Circle Tracker. I'm going to pull it up on the screen here. Again, only my clients have the access to this tracker. But I'm going to walk you through it here. And at the end of walking you through it, now I will say this, because again, this is, part of what I share with my clients. If you are interested in exploring potentially becoming a client and having a conversation to do the research to see what our program options are and if any are right for you, because we do have many program options, you can book a discovery call. And just that simple act of showing us that you're serious and doing the research and looking into business programs, we are happy, we'll be happy to share the tool with you. You don't need to necessarily become a member to, for me to share the spreadsheet, but I will throw up the link for you to apply for a discovery call. If you do so, we will share the tracker with you, because that's your way of telling us you're serious. You're serious about your business. Okay. So I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to walk you through it. So buckle up. Here we go. And again, I just shared in the chat. There's a link for you to book a call with us. So if you fill that out, we will send you this tracker. You have to fill it out and, hop on a call. And again, even if you decide not to work with us, that's fine. At minimum, you're doing research, right? To find out what the support need to look like for you. So let's talk through the tracker. And the idea here, y'all, is you guys already listed your first 5 people that would be in your inner circle. I want you to continue to add to that list. I want you to continue to add to that list over time. Okay. So let me walk you through what's on this list here. Okay. So first, column A, let me make it bigger. I have a feeling it's small for me. It's probably small for everyone. Column A, you list their name, simple enough. Column B, relationship to you. Because once you get to 20 people, 50 people, 75, 100 is the stretch goal. But at first, let's just deal with the first 5 people, right? But over time, right? We're starting in March now. Over time, I want you to be adding to this list. So column B is your relationship to them. How do I know this human in my inner circle? Column C, I talked about mode of communication, right? How do I communicate? Text, phone, email? Put that mode of communication in there. And again, we're not going to force somebody that say never goes to Facebook DM with us, right? You're going to do what is normal for that person and your relationship with them. Column D and E is where I want y'all to list the specific information related to that person. So option 1 or option 2. Option 1 is their social media link, their profile. So if you're like, yeah, I see this person on Facebook, I'm in a Facebook group with them, put in the link to their Facebook profile right here. Okay. If you're like, no, I don't really talk to them on Facebook or LinkedIn or whatever, I don't care, Instagram, I'm going to text them, I'm going to call them, or I'm going to email them, then you're going to put that in column E. So you don't need every bit of information, just one piece of info on how you're going to communicate with them. So my recommendation, y'all, before you get started with this process, so you already have your first 5 people, bravo. You're going to want to list them out here, A through E. Let's just get the goods. Get what's their email, what's their DM, what's their phone number. That's part 1. Okay. Once you've gathered that info, now we move into step-by-step engaging. Now, let me be really clear. Let me be clear when I talk about engaging with them. Okay. You guys, I am a copy person. I create templates. I write copy. That's what I do. You may not need this. Do we have any people that are wonderful at networking in this group? Put in the chat networking. If you're just an awesome networker, some of you may be. I will tell you straight up, that's not my strong suit. Networking. I am an INFJ. I'm an introvert. Networking for me, I like to have a copy. I like to have script. I like to have all that laid out. So what I'm trying to say to you is you don't have to follow the script I'm about to give you. But for those of you that are like, it would be kind of helpful to have at least something to go by, I'm going to walk you through it right now. So again, let me share on my screen. Let me make it big. Okay, so now we have their information. Step one, write this down, step one. Write this down or book a call and we'll just send you this. Step one is do them a solid. Do them a solid. And what does that mean to do them a solid? Well, it can mean a bunch of different things, but it's essentially let's do something of value for this person before we get right into assaulting them with conversation, right? So here's an example. Engage on their social media content. It's just an example. So say this is a person that's on Facebook with you, right? Maybe I'm going to go like and comment on their vacation pictures. They just took the kids to Orlando, right? There's a billion different ways to do a solid, right? Maybe they have a golden doodle and you find an article about golden doodles and whatever. You send them that, hey, I thought of you. Send them the article. Maybe you're on LinkedIn with them and you endorse them for a skill, right? Do them a solid. Do you have to do this or you can't move forward? No, you don't have to. I just happen to like to give before I ask, right? So step one, do them a solid. If for some reason that's not possible, then move on. But I like to kick it off like that. Questions, drop them in the chat. Questions, drop them in the chat. Step two is now we're going to do a reach out. Now we're going to do our initial reach out. However you're going to reach out, email, Facebook, LinkedIn, text, phone. So this is just an example. Okay, this is an example. Hey, Jane, I saw your pictures on Facebook of your recent trip with the kids to Orlando. What fun! We went there last year. The kids had a blast. I haven't seen you since the high school reunion. I want to reach out and say hi. Now, you guys, if you're going to take something away from tonight, write this down. It's in bold. What is new and exciting in your world as of late? Write that down if you're going to write something down. What is new and exciting in your world as of late? Put into the chat, when you ask somebody that question, what do you think that question does? And this is not a very obvious answer either. When you ask somebody, hey, what's new and exciting in your world as of late? What do you think that does? Any guesses? And I'm just checking the chat here. And Tabitha, thank you. Tabitha put a bunch of things, of examples of how you can do a solid for somebody in the chat. Thank you for that, Tabitha. I was powering right through that. Examples of doing a solid. Let me just read through this quick too. Doing something useful or valuable for that person, or something that makes them feel good. It doesn't have to be with their coaching or with their business. It can be personal. Okay. Number two is what I mentioned, engaging on their social media content. Number three, I also mentioned you could send them an article that you think would be helpful to them. It could be around coaching their urgent problem. It could be related to your niche, or it could be around anything useful for that person. Number four, and again, this is all in the chat. Tabitha, drop this in the chat. You could send them a handwritten letter. Imagine a handwritten letter. It's the nicest thing to get a handwritten letter. Send them a handwritten letter. It doesn't have anything to do with business. You ever see those cards just to say hi? Send them a handwritten letter. Take them out to coffee, or it could be virtual coffee. Send them a $5 Starbucks coffee digital coupon. Get on the Starbucks app and get them a digital coupon and say, happy Monday, coffee's on me. Send them a LinkedIn skill endorsement. Send a LinkedIn written recommendation. And my reminder for that, on LinkedIn where it says you can actually, because there's two things on LinkedIn. One, it lists out all the skills and you can just say, I endorse you for that skill. That's fine. Or if you really want to go all in on LinkedIn, you can actually write a recommendation on that person. And so maybe it's someone you used to work with. And I want to remind you, you do not need to be their boss to do this. It could be a colleague. It could be your boss. You talk about how wonderful your boss was. It could be somebody in a different department, right? Following up on a personal matter that you know about them, right? When we talked about how was your trip to Orlando. So again, on page 2, I do want you guys to write down some examples of doing a solid, and like Tabitha shared right there in the chat. Okay. And Jim says, gets them thinking positively. Exactly. Yeah, gets them to think positively. Jamie, they stop and think. Absolutely. What's new and exciting in your world as of late? Meredith prompts a response about something positive in their life. Yes. So Saliana, embrace kindness. Yes. And here's the other thing it does. So going back to my question, I asked you guys, when you say to somebody, hey, what's new and exciting in your world as of late? Let's go back to my little spreadsheet here, the inner circle tracker. Let's go back to that. This is really important. I want you to take this away before we get off this call tonight. We're going to wrap up in a couple more minutes. Stay with me here. When you ask somebody what's new and exciting in your world as of late, guess what happens? They will answer, oh, I went to Greece and my husband and I went. It was amazing, blah, blah, blah. And then what do? When they answer the question. They tell you what's new and exciting. People love to hear themselves talk. But then what do? Put into the chat. What do they do after they answer your question? This is really important. Yes, Sally, Cindy, Jamie, absolutely. It prompts a response, right? They're going to say, hey, I did this, and this is what's new and exciting. And what's new with you? You see how much more smooth and less icky that is than powering through with, I'm doing this business. Do you know anybody? Right? Then you can say, continues the conversation, Jim. Absolutely. So here we are here at return message copy. So you're going to respond to what they said is new and exciting. Hey, that's great. You guys went to Greece. That's been on my bucket list. Hey, so you asked me what's new in my world. I got to tell you, I am super pumped with my latest endeavor. I am following my lifelong dream of becoming a coach and entrepreneur. I'm still in my corporate gig, but I just got certified as a business coach for coaches. In a nutshell, and then I share my niche statement. I share my who, and I share what I help them with. I'm trying to make it so easy for this person to either identify that they are my niche, they're like, that's me, or for them to say, it's not me, but I know somebody, right? So I'm going to say, in a nutshell, I help corporate renegades ditch the 9-to-5 and repackage their genius into a 6-figure coaching business. I am so passionate about this because I want to help other people just like me. I'm in the process of trying to build my network with these types of people right now. Do you happen to know anyone like this? You see how that, now again, you guys don't need to do this word for word, but you see how that's just much more like the give and the take. And they asked us, we asked them what's new and exciting, or what do you have going on for 2025? And then they ask us and we're responding, right? Really important. So again, we're tracking our dates. And then here, bright, obnoxious green, I always like to track, you're welcome, Saliana. I always like to track what's the next step. I want to know ahead of time to myself. And this is something I help my clients with, right? Sometimes they'll come to me with this tracker and I'll just go through line item with them and be like, okay, here's what you should do next with this person. Here's what you should, right? That's what a coach does is they go through, if you feel blocked or somebody ghosts you or whatever, right? We kind of coach you through, okay, here's how to get around that. So I like to always, after I say the thing, I want to say, okay, what am I going to do next? Once she responds, I'm going to ask if she can introduce me, if she has a contact via a 3-way email. So I just want to remind myself, what am I going to do next? Because I don't want to have to think hard when I get back up to the top of my list, right? I'm checking in on this list weekly, right? Here, column M, is this person my niche or my ideal client avatar? Or who do they know they can introduce me to? Because that's what's going to happen, you guys, in column J. After you share what kind of coaching you're doing and you say, do you know anybody like this? Right? After you say that, either they're going to say, it's me, or they're going to say, oh my gosh, yeah, I've got a colleague. That's exactly her. Right? So you need to indicate in column M, or you're going to forget as you start to build up these contacts. Are they your potential client, or are they introducing you to someone? Right. And then it's a continuation. We follow up, follow up, follow up. And you guys are going to learn more throughout this workshop. We're going to talk about, this is just the beginning here. We're going to talk about how do we move those conversations into clients. This is step one. Okay. So later on in the workshop, later on this week, we're going to talk about, okay, Betty, now I've got these conversations going, but how do I move them into potential clients? We're going to talk about this later this week. As we kind of wrap up here, I do want you guys to be thinking about, and how about this? Put into the chat, I guess I want you to put into the chat either one, if you have a niche or a specialty or an expertise, what is it? Put it into the chat. If you're not sure, put that into the chat. I'm not sure. I want to gauge where everybody's at. There's no right or wrong. I just want to know where to lean in versus where you're like, nope, I know exactly my expertise, my specialty, versus the people are like, I need to figure that out. Okay. Susan, Jamie. Yeah. So this is good for me to know. And side note, step one in my signature method is choose a niche, nail your messaging. So all y'all that are like, I'm not quite sure yet, that's normal. That's where you should be at this point. Okay. So here's something I do want you to think about as a takeaway. And I want you to put it at the top of page 2. I want you to be thinking about your coaching title, meaning what kind of a coach are you, or do you want to be? Now you can use what I call umbrella topics for your coaching title. Let me give you an example. And Tabitha, I think this is in your answer key, so you could copy paste these umbrella topics. Okay. I'm talking about 1, are you a love, relationship, or marriage coach? Are you in that field? 2, are you a money coach, finance coach? Love or money? 3, are you health and wellness? Love, money, health. 4, are you a type of coach that is specific to a skill set? So there's like, I'm making this up. Maybe you are a fashion coach and you help 7-figure entrepreneurs, dress right so they look sharp on camera, right? So it's a skill set. So option 4 is there a certain skill set that you're coaching at? Number 5, I know there's no work-life balance doesn't exist, but option 5 would be like work-life integration. I have clients that call it work-life integration or burnout, right? Are you in the field of work-life integration or burnout coach? Number 6, is your focus more around family or kids or teens? Number 7, are you like me? Are you a business coach? You an entrepreneurship coach? Number 8, are you a coach who focuses on spiritual development? Spiritual development. Tabitha put this all in the chat. Number 9, are you a career coach? Number 10, are you a leadership or an executive coach? Number 11, are you a lifestyle coach? Well, I already used this as an example. I suppose it fits here too. Lifestyle coach, that's more about beauty, makeup, style, fashion, travel. I had a coach who was, I worked with, she was an organizational coach. She would coach people how to organize their houses, their closets, their office. And number 12, are you a life transition coach? That could be a grief coach, divorce coach, retirement coach, expat coach, right? I'm just giving you guys examples. So drop into the chat, just what's the first thing that comes, and even if you're like, I don't know, Betty, drop into the chat, which of these, and you can even put a couple, look interesting to you. And I also want you to write that on page 2. I want you to think about, and if you're not sure and you're like, Betty girl, I just don't know. That's part of what I help people figure out, right? That's part of my program. I help them pick a niche that they're passionate about, but it's profitable. That's the key. You got to find the sweet spot. Passion and profit. Got to have both, right? Great. So we've got leadership coaches, career coaches, work-life balance, work-life integration. Yeah. Okay, great. So you guys, some ideas here. Good. Write that down in your workbook. Write that down in your workbook. Okay. The last thing I want you to think about, and it's right under your coaching title on your workbook, page 2. This is where I'm going to leave you, and we're going to leave you with an action item and call it a night. Very important. So if you've stayed this far, I'm glad. This is very important. Okay. We'll talk about this more later, and it's okay not to have the answer now. But eventually, what's going to make your life so much easier when it comes to networking and getting referrals or getting people to raise their hand, it will make it so much easier on you once you get more clear. Write this down, is what is the urgent problem that you coach people to solve, right? That's when people are like, here, take my money, right? The question is, what's the urgent problem that keeps that person up at night? They'd pay anything to have solved, right? If you can identify that, that's when it doesn't matter what the economy is or, you know, et cetera, et cetera. If that is an urgent problem that that human would pay anything to solve, that's why the messaging matters. Okay. This is, if you don't know, it's okay. This is part of what I teach. This is module 1 of my program. Okay. But I want you to think about, write it in your notebook. When you think about your umbrella topics, so I'm making this up. Let's say you're a leadership coach. Okay, cool. You're a leadership coach. But when it comes to being a leader, there's so many problems, right? Which of those problems are you focused on? What's your specialty, right? When you think about being a leadership coach, if you can focus on a specific urgent problem that your specific leaders have, that's when you rise to the top, right? And your competitors that are super generic and basic, people come to you because you're more specific, okay? I want you to think of, and we'll talk about this more later. This is going to be down the line, right? It's that niche statement that I help who with what, so that we're thinking about what is the urgent problem you're helping people to solve. Now, side note, I want to help you all with this. If you are not sure what your niche statement is, or even what your coaching title is, I want you to post in the Zoom chat or the Facebook group your initial draft of the urgent problem that you will help people solve. And I will give you feedback. So you can either put it in the Zoom chat, you can put it in the Facebook group, and I will give you feedback. So what I'm looking for is the I help who with what, so that fill in the blank. I want to know who's your who. I'm going to give you feedback on your who. I want to know what's the action you're helping them take. And I want to know what's the outcome that you're helping them to achieve. Right? And that goes both ways. We're helping them overcome an urgent problem so that they can achieve a specific outcome. Now, most of you aren't there yet, and that's okay. I have a whole module dedicated to this in my program. But for the sake of this workshop, and just for helping you guys being able to network with people so that people are like, oh, I know. Because if you go to somebody, you're like, I am a life coach, I help people with their problems, they're going to be like, huh? What? Right? We got to give them some meat, something to work with. So post in the Facebook group your draft, and I'll give you feedback on that. We'll work through that together. Now, later in the week, okay, days 2, 3, and 4, we're going to get more into talking about how this inner circle conversation that we started, how this can turn into a sale. Okay. We're going to talk about that days 2, 3, and 4. Every session this week is going to build on the next. All right. So last but not least, action items at the bottom of page 2 of your workbook. Bottom of page 2, action items. I've divided your action items into 2 parts. I only want you to worry about the first action item. It says that on your workbook. It says the first action item. I want you to do a solid for 5 members of your inner circle, y'all. You have 24 hours to go and do a solid for the 5 people you wrote down. That's your first action item. Okay. Now, I then have future action items, right? Send an initial customized message, add 20 more people to your tracker, right? I have other things for the future, but that's for you to bookmark. For now, go ahead and take that first action within the next 24 hours. The others are bonuses. Now, again, like I said, you have a chance to get the copy of the Inner Circle tracker if you book a discovery call with us. Again, the point of hopping on a discovery call, besides getting a tracker, is so that we can learn about your goals and challenges. We can make some recommendations for you. We can talk to you about the different possibilities of programs that we have. We can talk about if some of those are a fit for you, or if they're not, and that's fine too, right? But what I think is really important that you all start to do here is research on what support looks like for you, whether it's me or somebody else, right? Start doing that research. That's part of what booking a discovery call is about. And then also you get your tracker. Okay, so that's what I got for you. Quick preview of what we'll be talking about tomorrow. Tomorrow, workshop day 2, we're going to talk about how to use market research to get paying clients. Okay, that's going to be a really juicy one. So we're going to take the work we did today and we're going to talk about how to turn that into market research. Market research is going to validate that you have a profitable market with the direction you're going. And market research is going to potentially get you some paying clients. So that's where we're going to start to get juicy. So tomorrow we're going to talk about the most powerful form of market research to help you get clients. I'm going to talk to you about ideal client avatar surveys, and I'm going to give you specific questions to ask during an ideal client avatar survey to turn them into a client. I'm going to give you, and we're going to talk about a ton of scripts on how to turn ideal client avatars into clients. And tomorrow, this is all tomorrow, we're going to talk about the key to how to end your market research conversation so that it will result in a paying client. All right. Okay. So tomorrow, make sure you show up. Same Zoom link, 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Congratulations. You've officially completed session 1. I'm so psyched for you guys. Soak all this in. Go ahead now, head to the Facebook group. Tabitha has posted the homework post. It's going to have an image. It's going to ask you one question, and all you have to do is answer that question in the homework post, show up live tomorrow, and then you will be a part of our drawing for our first gift card giveaway. All right, I'm so psyched for you guys. Have a wonderful night, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye, y'all. Tomorrow.